Alright, shalom, shalom. Alright, first and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory unto the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of the great millstone who rule well. Peace and salutation to the for the elect. This is your brother Ahmad Bayan coming to you with another video through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakah HaKodash. Alright, and this one here we're going into Iran residents from form human chains around power plants, right? And as Trump threatened them, he threatened them to basically take take all of the oil, but first he wants to basically do what, to destroy the power plant and their bridges, right? Which he already started, with I think one of the bridges, right? But nevertheless, this devil, these devils, Esau, Edom, they showing their horns, right? And they have what? They have Trump doing this, right? So this is just a video here. I have a next one to play, all right? And we'll just get one or two scriptures and close it off. Lord willing, this lesson here is going to be edifying to the elect of Israel, all right? So we're waiting. What's the time? The time is now it's now about what, 7 o'clock, right? So we just waiting what an hour to see what's going to take place. What this guy is going to do, what decision he's going to make, because a lot of people is against this, all right? And this is this cruel Lord today that is ruling, all right? DJ Trump, all right? So there's just the video here. Iran residents form human chains around power plants after Trump threats, right? So let's play it here. There's a lot of women, a lot of men, and these people are known to people as people who will, put their body as a sacrifice. All right, they literally does these things. They literally does put blinkies on, and well, not blinkies, sorry. Put on things and
recruiting child soldiers as young
Salakia and go on I want to use my words wisely. That's why I might stutter sometimes and try to choose my words properly. All right, so Salakia, but these are people who known to put on straps on them and just let it out there, let it out there and unalive many people among them. All right, so yeah, these are the things that these are the people that Trump is going after. So a threat to them is not really going to do them anything, right? You're threatening them, is like basically talking to a wall, right? And they're not backing down. All right, why? Also they're not backing down because it have Russia backing them, also China, and these other nations want them to keep the Straits of Hormuz closed, right, to America, right, to Babylon, all right, because all the wicked acts and the wickedness that they're doing. A lot of other countries is not backing America right now with their decisions, right? So we're going to see how things are going to play off, right? If Babylon only shoot any missile at them and unalive those same people that you saw there, right? These same people that you see in here, if it is he do decide to shoot any missile and destroy people around that facility there, you know, is all hell is going to break loose on them, right? Because, you know, this man doesn't understand that, you know, the world is coming against him, all right? The world is starting to hate that great whore, America, all right? So let's get into the next video real quick, and we're gonna get some scriptures.
This is a Fox News alert. The UN vote on a resolution to open the Strait of Hormuz has failed. The exact language of that was it strongly encourages states interested in the use of the commercial maritime routes in the Strait of Hormuz to coordinate efforts. Now, who could possibly be against this? Well, they technically had enough votes for this to pass. However, two members, permanent members of the Security Council, issued a veto, and that is enough to strike this down. I wonder who those permanent members were. China, Russia, the predictable actors in Russia speaking at this moment as they vote to down that resolution to protect the Strait of Hormuz. More on that as it develops, but we've been...
You see that? You see who protecting them? All right? The scriptures say, he shall be a guard unto them. Just roughly paraphrasing. I know we could jump to that scripture real quick. Ezekiel chapter 38. Alright, and verse 1, it says, And the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, and set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech, the and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Lord power, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back, Salakia, and I will turn thee back, and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thy armies, horses, and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords, right? So when you're talking about Magog and them, you know, you're talking about Russia, right? Talking about Russia. So, you know, the Lord put in hooks back in, you know, into Russia jaw, you know, and turning them back to the way how they were, right? And they being what they are going to be a guard unto these other nations, right? Unto Iran and all of them, you know, going back to the original names, right? Verse 5, it says Persia, right? Ethiopia and Libya, with them all of them with shield and helmet, right? Because, you know, he's going to be a guard unto them. He's going to help them out. You know, he's going to give them, you know, supply them with missiles and all these things. So, you know, as soon Babylon the Great, you know, make that, you know, the modern day Babylon the Great are talking about here, you know, aka America, when they decide to be when they decide to feel froggy and jump, you know, by the time they jump, you know, it have America, not Salaki, not America, Salaki was saying. It has, again, a little excited. It has Russia and it has China, you know, standing at the side to defend these other countries, right? It says here, verse 6, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Tugama of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all the company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. Right? And this is the point that I'm getting at here. You know, Russia is going to be that guard unto them, you know, followed by China and all these other countries, you know, because, you know, everyone reach a point that they fed up, you know, they fed up of seeing, you know, these devils in power. You know, the scripture talk about when the wicked is in authority, the people mourn, right? And people mourning, people are fed up, right? So the Lord is bringing them, you know, he's stirring up these minds of these other kings, and before another chime on that, the Lord is stirring up the minds on these kings and these princes and them out there to go to war, right? So let's continue here.
Strait of Hormuz. More on that as it develops, but we've been following Russia, the predictable act. 2 members per commercial maritime routes in the Strait of Hormuz to coordinate efforts. Now, who could possibly be against this? Well, they technically had enough votes for this to pass. However, 2 members, permanent members of the Security Council, issued a veto, and that is enough to strike this down. I wonder who those permanent members were. China, Russia, the predictable actors in Russia speaking at this moment as they vote to down that resolution to protect the Strait of Hormuz. More on that as it develops. But we've been following this hour the story of human chains that are being formed in front of several power plants in Iran. You are looking at these images. They're jarring to look at, Lisa, because I think Emily made a very key point here. At least in one video that we've seen, we have 2 that we've been playing. This is entirely women. This is children. These are the most vulnerable members of Iranian society and those who are targeted most.
I mean, no, we saw it have men there also, you know. But you know, women is, they will see something like, you know, with woman and they will express on it more.
That is who you are circling around your plant, your women and your children?
Well, Kaylee, think about the juxtaposition between what we're seeing here and what President Trump and the United States military just did to rescue 2 of our military men behind enemy lines. President Trump said no man left behind. The Iranian regime, they're willing to sacrifice their own people. They're willing to put them out to slaughter. And then you look at the contrast here in the United States, the lengths that the United States military went to get our people behind, because we don't leave a man behind. We value human life so much.
And that is a bunch of lies that they say in there, you know. They value anybody, you know. The scriptures say, you know, he that is wicked to himself, to whom he may be good, right? He, you know, this devil, again, you know, he is very evil to himself, right? You know, let's go to the book of Sirach, also known as Ecclesiasticus. Lucky. 14 and verse 5, it says, he that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? He shall not take pleasure in his goods, right? This devil is, you know, he is known to be evil to himself, right? To his own people, right? Look how he treat his own people in Babylon, right? So what make you think that, you know, he is going to treat others in a better way and whatnot, right? And what, you know, and this, you know, these people are liars, you know? These people are liars, you know, even in news feeds and whatnot, you know? It all belongs to Esau Edom, right? So they will tell you things that they want to hear. Right?
And then you look at the contrast here in the United States, the lengths that the United States military went to get our people behind, because we don't leave a man behind. We value human life, so much so that even former Obama Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson said that mission was probably more daring and complex than the Osama bin Laden raid. So that's what.
And that's someone that bin Laden raid is hey. Even Aaron Russo came out and talk about it, you know. Even Aaron Russo came out and talk about it when I think it's Nick Rockefeller, you know, had a word with him and told him that, you know, that whole that whole shenanigans that took place over there, you know, with when they went after Bin Laden, you know, was a hoax, you know. They didn't have anything on the man, right? They really went over there to get minerals and so forth, you know, and to dig up holes and try to get substances from bones and whatnot, you know. These people known to be liars, right? They're known to be liars. This is who they are. Now let's go to the book of John, St. John, chapter 8 and verse 44 real quick. It says, "Ye are of your father the devil, the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own. He speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it." You know, the Lord called them worthless quacks, you know, physicians of no value, right? They lie plenty, okay?
A Bin Laden raid. So that's what we're willing to do in the United States of America. So contrast that with what these sick, evil, you know what, are willing to do. I can't say the word on national TV.
And all the words they want to call the people and say they bad and they this and they that, you know, all these heathens bad, all right? Starting from Esau, I say Esau, well, I could say it that way too because the man evil, Esau evil, right? Even him and all, right, is the same way, right? And when they want to point fingers and say things about people and other people, you know, they self is the same way, all right? This is Matthew 7 and verse 1. It says, "Judge not that ye be not judged. For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. And with what measure ye mete, it shall be measured to you again." Right? So basically, you know, the judgment, the way how they reacting with others, treating others and whatnot is going to come right back to them the same way, you know. And you know, all these other countries that Trump is going against, that Babylon is going against, you know, they all being guarded by Russia, China, and these other bigger heavy hitters, right? And these bigger heavy hitters, you know, are going to come against Babylon very soon, right? And this is all the will of the Lord, for judgment to come upon that great whore, right? For them to stone her to death, right? With missiles. So let's read this here in the NLT, right? Matthew 7 and 1, it says, "Do not judge others, and you will not be judged." It says, "For you will be treated as you treat others." The standard you see in the judging is the standard by which you will be judged, right? And you notice when you read down in this, it goes into speaking to Israel. But I'll use this part here because, you know, overall, you know, vice versa. You know, you treat someone a particular way, you know, you're going to be treated the same way. So the same way that they're going against these other countries, these other nations, they are going to get it right back onto them. The same thing that this guy Kowalski, you know, if I say his name right, you know, the president from Ukraine, he said that, oh, you know, you're going to get back the same thing onto you, you know. A matter of fact, let me see if I could find it. I'll just pause it for a while and try to find it and just bring it out for edification's sake, if they still have it up. Right, I got a little something here. I was trying to get it on YouTube, Anyway, I get on TikTok here. This is the best one I get. Let's check it out.
Moment from February 2025. Remember this moment from February 2025? This may go down as one of the single most prescient moments in modern diplomatic history. Ukrainian President Zelensky warned Donald Trump that the United States may be protected by an ocean, but eventually war will affect the United States and they will need the help of their allies. And instead of acknowledging Zelensky's points, Trump and J.D. Vance yelled at him.
During the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in
answering
no
on
position to
this question.
dictate that.
That's exactly what
Remember
you're
this.
doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel.
What Zelensky was saying, he was correct, because the Lord is the one actually was telling him that. The Lord would send messages through anyone, right? And basically telling Babylon that you are going to fall, right? You are going to fall, right? So at the end of the day, this is what we're seeing. And this was since when? February the 25th. Right now, we're in what? The year 26, right? 2026. All right? So we're seeing things taking place.
Feel very
You will
good.
feel influenced.
We're going to feel very
I'm
good and
telling
very
you,
strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very.
You hear what he say? They're going to feel very good and very strong. That's the pride of this devil, right? The pride of Edom. Let's just get this one and close it off. This is we go to the book of Obadiah. Book of Obadiah. Start from verse 1. It says, the vision of Obadiah thus saith the Lord power concerning Edom, right? Edom goes into these Edomites, alright? The ones that lives in the Caucasus mountain, came from the Caucasus mountain. This is the reason why they call them Caucasians, right? It says, we have heard a rumor from the Lord Yahweh, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Who's her? Babylon the Great, aka America, right? It says, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised, right? So all these other countries right now, they're looking at America as, they greatly despise. They don't like them, they can't stand them anymore, right? It says, the pride of thy heart has deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, right? Which is those rocky places that they used to live in, Mount Seir, right? That's where they came from. That's why they make so much of these bunkers today, Is a more updated version of what they had from back then. This is just to show you proof that they are known as cave dwellers, right? They like to dwell in caves. They like to be in darkness, right? It says, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Right? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, which is those satellites and whatnot, hence will I bring thee down to the Salakia. Hence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord Yahweh. Right? And this is what the Lord is going to do. The Lord kept that promise, right? And that promise is going to come to pass, right? So all the things that we're seeing that they're trying to do right now, very soon you're going to see that judgment come upon Babylon Great. All right? So let's wait and see. Excuse me. Let's wait and see what's going to take place when 8 p.m. reach. You know what is going to take place over on that end. Alright, so with that, I hope this lesson here was edifying to the elect of Israel. I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory unto the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakha Kodash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of the great millstone who rule well. Peace and salutation to the hopeful elect. This is your brother Ahmad Bayan signing out, and I will say Shalom and Abad Babal.